Hey, what's up, DS3TV? I can see you haven't subscribed to the channel. It's kind of weird. You should subscribe. I mean, we got some good content here. And also, go to the Twitch that's in the link down in the description. Link is probably right here under me. And yeah, should do all of that. And yeah, please subscribe. Get to see me have hot sauce that I don't really want to have when we get to 10,000. So subscribe. What's up, DS3TV? We are back for another video. This one is Miscellaneous Myths. Thoth gambles with the moon. And this is by our favorite channel on here, on this nice platform called YouTube, is Overly Sarcastic Productions. So, yeah. This is the video that we're going to watch today. And the reason, one of the reasons why we're watching this instead of the video that we probably should be watching today. Main reason that we're not is because I've been pretty sick, so all the videos that you've seen from last week, I was sick then too, but I shot all of them at once, so I didn't have to shoot anything for the rest of the week. That stopped for for 2 days, so that's probably why you didn't see any videos for a couple days. But we're gonna keep going on and get videos out every single day. Hopefully from here on out. I still am pretty sick. I don't sound like nasally sick because it's a stomach thing. So I am continuously nauseous every day. That's the best way I can say it. So that way if somebody's eating, I don't have to actually say what's going on. But yeah, can't hold any food down at all, even water. So that's been fun for me. Yeah, let's get into the video and let's see what's popping. We will have our subscriber wanted video tomorrow. I just don't have enough time to actually put it out today, because it would be too long of a video and too close to the time frame that I like to get my videos out. So yeah, you can also see it though on Patreon, because I'm gonna have it out on Patreon at the same time this video comes up, so that'll be fun. And yeah, talk to you. Why did I say talk to you guys like I'm gonna end the video?
All those deliberately unsatisfying videos where it looks like something's set up to be absolutely flawless, but then something misses by inches and the whole thing falls apart? The lunisolar calendar is like that. It should be a beautiful, perfect system of wheels within wheels, pleasingly regular orbits with completely predictable outcomes. And it kind of is, but the problem is the lunar month, aka the time it takes the moon to fully orbit the Earth, is 30 days, and the solar year, the time it takes the Earth to fully orbit the Sun, is 365 days,
which means that it's not going to be perfect. And actually, that's the reason why we have like a leap year or whatever is because of the I think it's 365.5, right? I believe.
Means 12 lunar months is 5 days short of a solar year. That's already annoying enough. If you measure your years by the moon, which is extreme.
Solar year. Earth completes a full orbit, which 365 days. A lunar month is 27 to 30 days, depending on the exact definition you use. Lunar month, extremely convenient and easy to observe, but does not align with the solar year, causing seasonal drift. This can have detrimental effects on agricultural societies that need to know when to plant, when to harvest, and when to expect damaging weather. Annual discrepancy, more than 5 days, problem noticeable within 6 years.
Extremely convenient due to its phase visibly changing every day. Within 6 years, the sun is a whole lunar cycle off position, which has a noticeable impact on seasonal weather. If you measure your years by the sun, which is a little more difficult unless you're...
Solar year allows for totally accurate prediction of seasons and corresponding average weather, but much more difficult to observe than the lunar cycle progress through the solar year. Is most readily observed through when the certain stars begin to be visible in the pre-dawn sky, aka it's helical rising, less convenient than the moon. That is true, and plus don't look at the sun straight on. Don't do it.
really paying attention to the position of the stars, the seasons might stay consistent, but the lunar cycle is 5 days offset and you can't use full moons to demarcate the months anymore. And it gets worse. Technically, those cyclic lengths are only approximations. Our day length isn't some celestial unit inscribed on the heavens that the sun and the moon adhere to, it's just how fast the Earth spins. There's no reason the moon would orbit exactly 30 times slower than the Earth turns. So technically, a solar year is actually 365 days.
My fault is it's not 0.5, it's 0.25, because that's the reason why you have to have it every 4 years. My fault. So it's 29.53. That's actually insane. I never knew that the lunar year would be a little bit less. That's insane. Well, a lunar month would be a little bit less than 30
days, 5 hours, 48 minutes, and 46 seconds. And a lunar month is 29 days, 12 hours, 44 minutes, and 2.9 seconds. There's no way to get those perfectly lined up, and any calendar that's based on whole days as its smallest unit, which is all of them, will inevitably have to account for rounding errors within a few short years. This betrayal of modular arithmetic hurts my soul, and single-handedly convinced me that if there is a creator god responsible for the turning of the celestial spheres, they're a real asshole. Now, while almost every culture has its own...
Yeah, honestly. Because he could have just made it easier and said, hey, let's use perfect round numbers. That makes so much sense.
way of reckoning the calendar, almost all of them have accounted for this discrepancy in one way or another. Ancient Babylon favored lunar months for reckoning time and made up the time slip with an intercalary month added every once in a while, roughly 7 times every 19 years, to make up the missing time so the calendar stayed in rough alignment with the observed seasons. The Hebrew calendar started off very similar to the Babylonian one, but was replaced with a calculated calendar rather than an observational one over the course of the first millennium CE, which got pretty solidly locked in by our boy Maimonides in 1178 CE. The Mayan calendar combined a 365-day solar year with a much more important 260 days.
And I'm about to say, the Mayan calendar actually was pretty accurate too.
Cycle of 13 20-day units called the Tzolk'in that doesn't have a clear astronomical origin, but does make scholars argue a lot, which is always fun. And then there's the ancient Egyptians, who created a civil calendar sometime around 2000 BCE by rather ergonomically supplementing their 12 lunar months with a 5-day intercalary period to make sure every year lined up with a 365-day solar cycle. These 5 days rounded off the year and were seen as the birthdays of several major gods, and that's the kind of concept that definitely has a myth attached, right?
That's actually really cool. I actually like that a lot. So every one of those 5 years just was like the birth of one of them. That's actually really sick. I like that.
Come on, that's a golden opportunity. So today let's talk about how those oh-so-convenient 5 bonus days got tacked onto the calendar and rounded everything off nicely, except for leap years, but they didn't do those, so shush. So, this story is recounted by Greek historian, philosopher, and priest of Apollo Plutarch in his Moralia, written around 100 AD, in a section that is specifically about Plutarch's impression of Egyptian culture, their religious practices, and their gods. And while we're going to be discussing the Egyptian gods he was clearly talking about, it is important to note that Plutarch went out of his way to localize his story by assigning corresponding Greek gods to several Egyptian gods in this tale. It was a popular form of syncretism around this time to basically claim that other cultures with other gods were really just worshipping the Greek gods, but, wrong. So in this...
Of course. I mean, look at, now how, some people, look at, different, well, I guess not different religions, but, different, societies or whatever, and they say, oh, yeah, this was, their, main god was, our god or something like that. Some religions actually do, believe that, so... I mean, I can see it. It's a possibility that, and especially since, not everybody was literate enough to write, especially in that time. The people who were, they were and that were Greek, they were yeah, we're just going to say that they were more like our guys. They, they obviously didn't have their own culture behind it.
Story, Thoth gets cast as Hermes, Set is regularly referred to as Typhon, primordial earth and sky gods Geb and Nut are called Cronus and Rhea, Ra gets downgraded to just the sun, and Nephthys is briefly called Aphrodite, who is then described as consorting with Typhon, which I don't think is supported in the Greek version, but it honestly wouldn't surprise me. So our story begins with the sun god Ra pissed off. This isn't a strictly uncommon occurrence, but this particular fit of pique is the result
I love this picture, by the way. This is like a Renaissance painting.
Of sky goddess Nut and earth god Geb boning down. It's not entirely clear why this bugs him so much, but whatever the reason, Ra lays down an official heavenly decree that Nut cannot give birth any day of the year. Yep, All 360 of them are strictly off limits. This is a bummer for a lot of reasons, and Thoth, god of wisdom and assorted smart guy things, decides to help her out. So he gambles with Khonshu the moon god on games of Senate and absolutely smokes him, winning a small fraction of his total moonlight, about 1/70th. Now the moon is totally dark only once a lunar cycle, once every 30 days, and 12 times every 360 days. So if you divide up the 348 days when the moon is actually visible, 1/70th is almost exactly 5 days. So Thoth takes his winnings and uses them to expand the calendar, appending his 5 new days to the 360 that are already there. These days are, of course, outside the parameters of Ra's initial curse, and Nut is free to have as many babies as she wants. She proceeds to do just that, popping out Osiris, Horus, Set, Isis, and Nephthys in quick succession, rounding out the great Aeneid in one fell swoop, and as a happy consequence, perfectly smoothing out the observed soul.
I just love how pissed off, but he's like, this isn't, like, it shouldn't piss me off as much, but it really does.
Year. Except that, they didn't do leap days, and because this intercalary period was so deeply religious.
The rising of Cyrus gets a day later every 4 years. So to correct for the discrepancy, we should add a 6th epigeminal day every 4 years, and then they didn't.
Religiously significant that the idea of adding a leap day was politically and religiously controversial and was actively shot down when they tried it in the 200s BCE. So the whole calendar year very slowly slipped out of alignment with the actual solar year and the observed seasons. But look, it's fine, okay? Sometimes reading the precise mathematical turnings of the celestial...
you don't have to always get it right, and that's the beauty of life. You don't always have to get it right. Sometimes you just have to deal with the mistakes later.
Spheres is just a little more art than science. 520.
When I was a kid, I was very frustrated that the calendar was confusing. The months were different months in October, November, December were the 8th, 9th, and 10th months, like the names implied. Yeah. Honestly, yeah.
5,600.
That's an idea. I have always looked at, I don't know, I've always been interested in calendars and stuff because they are very weird, and they get very weird if they don't have a leap year, because then you have certain things that wouldn't happen like when the calendar was created happening during the time of the calendar. So yeah, turns out the calendars are stupid. Rabbit hole goes so much deeper than those childish considerations. I know, right? That's how I felt when I first went into the rabbit hole of it. Calendars are determined by the halactical rising of Cyrus are the best fight me. Honestly, I think they're the best.
Minutes, 525,000.
Honestly, that was really good. So yeah, talk to you guys in the next video, and subscribe to the channel. Also go to my Patreon, where you will see the subscriber wanted video that will be out when this video comes out. I'm gonna try to make more videos, and gonna have a video come out every day at 12 o'clock Pacific time. So yeah, talk to you guys in the next video, and peace.